Are you listening? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Welcome, fellow Yinzers, to Sports Talk in the Burgh. I am your host, Logan Carney, here with the Glasses Gang, Gregory Sutton, and Adam Maluso. But, you know, Adam, I said welcome, Yinzers. You're actually not even a Yinzer.
I'm
really.
not. I mean, here's the thing. You adopted me last episode.
He adopted
did.
you. I didn't adopt you, which
No.
makes you a Yinzalonian.
And I'm mad about that, Greg.
Yinzalonian.
Yinzalonian, that's kind of in the middle. Best of both worlds, right?
Yes,
Yeah, absolutely. So, guys, there's been a lot going on, a lot of breaking news coming out of the Pittsburgh Penguins organization lately, and that all started with Jim Rutherford, the GM of the organization, getting a 3-year extension to his contract. He then traded Carl Hagelin for Tanner Pearson from the Los Angeles Kings, and today it was also announced that Sidney Crosby is out with an upper body injury. Guys, what's going on in the Penguins organization right now?
I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, and I am someone that I don't think that they should have made this trade for Tanner Pearson to send in Carl Hagelin. I mean, you have a guy that doesn't really have the greatest stats, but what are you going to get by trading him for somebody that doesn't really have? He has the same stats as Carl Hagelin.
Well,
what are you getting out of that trade?
What are you going to get by keeping Hagelin? I mean, the only difference
This is what you get for trading Hagelin. So Tanner Pearson in the past 2 years, just past 2 seasons, has outscored, not in goals or assists, but total points, Carl Hagelin. He had 40 last year and 44 points the year before that. Carl Hagelin, may I say, last year had a total of 31 points and 22 points. So really, it's an upgrade for Carl Hagelin in contribution, in my opinion.
Well,
But look at where
thank you for interrupting me, Greg, and taking a while to get to your point. But as my point is, the biggest difference is it's really not a big trade. It's not.
It isn't. No, I agree.
It's a guy that was overpaid and young in L.A. being traded for a guy that was old and overpaid in Pittsburgh.
He was. I don't think Carl Hagelin was
look,
overpaid.
right now,
He was overpaid
The only
too, especially considering the Penguins are paying the difference. It was pretty much the same salary.
Look, the only argument I can make
change.
for Hagelin at this point is that he was not a prone scorer. I mean, he's going to do stuff that he'll set up guys down low, but he's not a huge scorer. If anything, he's more of a guy that sets up passes and assists. But like I mentioned, yeah, the stats from last season, yeah, they look like an upgrade, but they're not where they were at that point last year. Now, are they going to get to there? First of all, I don't think that Hagelin will. Pearson, I definitely think can get there, but it's going to be a stretch. Now, is he going to fit in well on his lines?
Adam,
that's yet to be seen.
So we heard our thoughts on the trade, though. But what do you think about the extension? They're giving Jim Rutherford an extension to a 2021-2022 season.
Well, I definitely would question that if he keeps making moves like this.
Question?
What?
He's two cups.
Wait, he's got
two Stanley
got
Cups.
two back-to-back
yes,
cups
you
after
need
making
to,
questionable
The
trades.
2 back-to-back cups are all well and good, but you
Had a
different crop of players than you do now, and making moves like this that don't really generate any sort of value with this team. They're not they're not hurting you, but they're not helping you either.
They're an older team that they have no farm system because they keep trading them away. They need these younger players in, and that's why.
And Jim Rutherford doesn't settle for later; he goes for now.
So enough with the Penguins saga that happened earlier today, though. We're going to move on to the Le'Veon Bell saga that is hopefully coming to an end. Le'Veon Bell didn't show up before the deadline yesterday, which means that he will not be able to play this season. Guys, what is your feeling now that this saga is finally over?
I am so glad he's
There
gone.
is a weight lifted off of my shoulders. You know how tired I am of hearing about Le'Veon Bell. He's still in Miami. He wants his money. It's over.
Me too.
I don't have to hear about it ever again.
I'm
going to have to, but I don't care. I'm done with it. Connor has just as many touchdowns through the first 10 games as Le'Veon Bell had all of last year, which disproves the fact that he isn't contributing like James Connor.
Let me ask a different
and this
question.
is coming from Logan, who says that Le'Veon Bell is better than James Conner.
Nope.
And nope. Nope.
Well, do you think he gets the money?
Le'Veon?
Yes.
Do you think?
Do you think he gets the money?
Somebody
Overpay
will
that
get
man.
him.
Somebody will overpay him.
So here's the thing. There's a lot of people that think that this was a bad idea on his part. I'm not completely sold, because I honestly don't know the answer to that.
So,
you look back at past years. John Riggins, the running back, sat out the 1980 season to get more money. Came back in 1981, got a no-trade clause. So he did end up getting a better contract out of it. The former Pitt Panther and Aliquippa Quips defensive tackle Sean Gilbert sat out the 1997 season after being franchised for $3.4 million. Before Le'Veon, the only player to do it for the franchise tag. Riggins wasn't franchise tag. Ended up getting a $46.5 million deal, which at the time was the largest.
Okay.
So it's something that, a lot of people are saying that it was a bad business decision. We don't know that yet.
No, I think this way. I can understand if you want to make a statement for the money, but the way some of the actions he took, they were ridiculous. He's holding on this team way too long.
Dr. Craig Coleman has stepped down as the director of athletics here at Robert Morris. So I ask you two, what legacy is Coleman going to be leaving behind?
Honestly, I think Coleman has, in my opinion, has a pretty strong legacy. He came here in 2005, and he's done a lot of good since then. I mean, last year, the men's lacrosse team went to the tournament for one of their first times ever, and the team, we've seen a lot of success.
They ranked too.
Yeah,
Almost
exactly.
beat Maryland,
We've seen a lot of success under Craig Coleman's athletic directing ability, and I think that just transcribes overall into a good legacy for him.
Yeah, and I think the one thing that you got to focus on here is, he was able to get so much done, but I think the one thing that's huge that he did oversee director-wise, we have this new UPMC event center coming for men's basketball, women's basketball,
Student
women's
Rec
volleyball.
Center, too.
Student Rec Center that opened last year. So you know what? Honestly, it's definitely a blow. And my question then is, who are you going to find to replace him? Because with someone with how much he's done, are you going to be able to replicate that legacy? I think he did a really good job. But who's going to come in and manage it?
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know the answer to that. It's a tough thing looking for an athletic director search. It's a tough thing to find. Marty Glossi is going to be in it, filling in that role for now. But again, it's a tough thing to determine who the candidates are, especially for a school as small as Robert Morris. Now, again, moving back to his legacy, though, for a little bit. I mean, there were some bad things that happened under him. They had to cut 7 programs 5 years ago.
Yeah, but that wasn't necessarily their fault as
John
well as the title.
It wasn't necessarily their fault. The John Banaszak hire hurt the football team. The Bernard Clark hires there. But again, keeping Andy Toole, keeping Derek Schooley, those are some strong coaching hires that have really benefited them. Is really, I think, will be a good light when looking back on Coleman's legacy.
The men's basketball team has kicked off their 2018 campaign. What are you gentlemen expecting out of the team this season? Will Kobe Thomas play as well as he did last year after winning NEC Rookie of the Year?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, here's the thing about Kobe is the one thing that he's become known for, and I saw this in games a ton at PPG last year, he can steal this ball, run it down the floor, and pull off some of the greatest dunks that he's seen. Now, that being said, he can also work the ball around to guys that are going to shoot it for 3. Now, the one guy I think should work on his 3 a little bit is Matty McConnell, but if Kobe can work it out, get it to guys like Chris Coleman, get it to guys like John Williams that can shoot that ball from deep, you're going to have a team that I think is like, I'm going to go old school here, it's going to be taking it back, but going to Kentucky, the game we had against Kentucky in the NIT, we were draining, or the RMU basketball team was draining 3s, and nobody could touch him, even as good of a team as Kentucky is. I think if you get guys working it around like Kobe can, as well as his dunking prowess, you're
right, Adam, sorry to cut you off there. As you're making a lot of good points. I agree with you in a lot. He's somebody that he's through 2 games. His defensive rebound percentage is, again, it's through 2 games, but it's 7th in the NCAA right now. So that is very, very, very strong. Of course, only 20 rebounds in 2 games, very good, 10 per game. He had 16 points against USC, and his offensive efficiency rating against USC was 85%, which is phenomenal.
That was amazing.
That's phenomenal. Yeah. So he's a guy that the team is going to go through him. I mean, there's a lot of good players in this team, the Williams brothers, McConnell, all these players are good. Kobe's the guy that if he steps up, this team can win the conference.
Well, here's the one thing, too, is you can't, even with the team, you cannot look at them just being in 5th place as bad. That's a respectable position, middle of the pack. I mean, I think they're going to do well this year when it comes to conference play. Well, let's shift to the women's side of things. RMU women's basketball is off to a hot start in their non-conference portion of the season. However, despite being picked to top the NEC, the Colonials couldn't fight off the comeback in a shocking loss to the Rhode Island Rams. So the question I have for you guys is, with a 1-2 start and a surprising loss to URI, what do you guys believe is the reason for this slow start? And should we need to panic right now or be worried as fans? Or is it just a rough start that you think that this team will be able to quickly rebound from?
See, I've never been a big fan of the panic meter early in the season. I've never been a big fan of it. So I don't think it's quite yet. We're not ready to panic yet. The URI game was kind of disappointing to watch. It was a very bad loss.
Horrible.
Absolutely. I'm not disagreeing with that at all.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that it's not time to panic. We also have to think of all the new freshmen that came in this year. So they're trying to
There is
mesh
an
as a
adjustment,
team.
yeah.
So I just think it's not time to panic. I think this team's going to rebound and they're going to do well like they did
So,
last.
Adam, I know you'll agree with me on this, and I'm sure you will too. I mean, non-conference season, again, it does, for a team like Robert Morris, it doesn't really mean much. That being said, URI, they were 3-27 last year. That is in that game, that is the lowest point total by a Rhode Island opponent since Boston University and Dartmouth had 41 points in back-to-back games in 2015. That's how bad that loss was. It's just something that Rhode Island hasn't done for 3 years. Rhode Island, they only had 3 wins last year. In RMU, they shot 22.2% in the game. Nina Augustine, 0 for 6. Pausette, 1 for 10. Megan Callahan, 2 for 8. Another player's 1 for 8. Nadege Puvaz and Esther Castillo, 2 for 8. You know, so it was a bad loss. That being said, this is a team that last year they started off similar record, and then they won 5 in a row. Entered conference play 7-4, and then they tied for conference regular season. I'm not too worried, but it was a very bad loss.
So this is the thing that alarmed me the first, real quick, Adam, is the shooting wasn't the greatest. They were missing a lot of shots that they should have made, and it's just kind of scary to see that in the early season.
Now, there's only 2 weeks left in the FBS season for college football. Pitt, Penn State, and West Virginia are all wrapping up strong seasons. So, guys, out of the big 3 FBS colleges around, Pittsburgh, which season are you most impressed with?
Well, I'm definitely going to tell you this. And I know it sounds weird. Penn State, not really around Pittsburgh, but I digress. But the one thing you got to look at with the Nittany Lions, they're off to a 4-3 conference start, and they have 2 huge games coming up.
That's not good, though.
One against Rutgers.
4-3 when you were just out of the top 10 in conference is not good.
But the problem is, you have to understand they are still above 500. They have matchups coming up against
So is
Rutgers,
the other 2.
Rutgers and the
Rutgers
University
is
of
bad.
Maryland. And the University
Maryland
of Maryland
is going through coaching problems. I mean, those aren't tough matchups, and they've beaten the teams they should beat. Yes, that is true. But they lost to Michigan. They were blown out by Michigan. They lost to Ohio State on horrible coaching in that game, and they lost to Michigan State, a game that they should have won, a team that they should have beat. You can't. I don't think you can put them over West Virginia. Definitely don't think you can put them over West Virginia. I don't think you can put them over Pitt. I picked Pitt because Pitt has the best chance, in my opinion, to win the conference because their schedule isn't as grueling as West Virginia. But I think you could easily argue West Virginia. Greg, I know you
West
picked
Virginia country roads, take me home. I'll tell you what, Logan. Let's just put it like this. Early in the season, their first game, they beat Tennessee 40-14.
That was a shocker.
Yeah, it was a
huge
game by West
offensive
Virginia.
output.
If we go through the schedule a little bit more, they played Kansas, Baylor, Texas, the Longhorns. Tight game, win 42-41. The only team they have to worry about right now is Oklahoma.
But they might face them twice.
They could face them
twice.
And that's going to be the big challenge for them. But I think West Virginia has one of the best seasons so far in college football. With Week 11 of the NFL season starting tomorrow night with the Packers playing the Seahawks, who do you guys think you guys have pegged as the most likely, most valuable player from across the league for the NFL?
Well, for me, it's got to be Todd Gurley. I mean, this man has...
It's got to be.
It has to be. Yes.
Has to be.
It
Has to be Todd Gurley.
It cannot
We might as well not even give our picks because it has to be Gurley.
Here's
Move
the
on.
thing. You know, I got to look at his yards for Todd Gurley. It is the 11th versus Seattle. He had yards totaling of 120.
Let me ask you, Adam. So sorry to interrupt you, but
Sorry.
let me ask you, how many running backs have been picked since 2000 to win the MVP?
I know that it's very, very little. But
5.
Gurley can break that mold.
5 running backs. They've all had historic seasons, and they were all going up against quarterbacks that weren't having historic seasons.
Well, if
Patrick
there's-
Mahomes is going to be the MVP. He is going to be. All right. He leads the league in passing yards and touchdowns right now, with 3,150 yards, 31 touchdowns, and he has 7 interceptions. But 31 touchdowns, 3,150 yards, both first. His team is 1 loss. His team looks to be the number one seed in the AFC, which is a conference that has just been dominated by the Steelers and the Patriots and whatever team Peyton Manning was on, 5 years ago.
So
those are the teams that Broncos and Colts. Those are the teams that dominate this conference, and now it's being dominated by the Chiefs because of Mahomes.
But
Okay,
Todd
so
Gurley put up
this is
yards
the
against
thing.
Denver.
Ben Roethlisberger.
So
he's
what?
208 yards
Listen,
against
hey,
Denver.
Hey,
Cool.
hey,
One
hey.
game. That's
Ben
great.
Roethlisberger is my choice. Big fan of Ben Roethlisberger. I mean, of course, I'm from the city, but Ben Roethlisberger doing some pretty amazing
That's
things.
an
at
even
his
more
age this
ridiculous
year.
pick than Gurley.
No, it's not. Ben Roethlisberger.
None of his numbers are better than.
He's over 100% passer rating. I know Pat Mahomes
'cause
has
passes
114.
Let's give
but
the MVP
I think Ben
to whoever has the
Roethlisberger.
highest passer rating. Let's just do
It's
that.
a big thing, Logan.
Oh yeah,
Whoever
but it's
has
not as
always
big
my
as
guy.
yards, touchdowns. 10 more touchdowns, 400 more yards. It's going to be Mahomes.
Well, the NFL debate is hot, and it's sure to be good to finish out the season. But coming up here on Sports Talk in the Burgh, our very own Logan Carney and Greg Sutton are going to sit down for a chat with members of the RMU women's hockey team as well as the RMU rowing team. All this and more coming up on Sports Talk after the Burgh, Sports Talk in the Burgh after the break.
Hey, Dad. I need your help asking Jessica to prom.
Of course. Love is like the ocean. You have to tread the
Oh,
waters.
Dad. That's not the kind of help I needed. Hey, Jessica. Will you go to prom with me?
Yes.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care can't wait to share their first with you.
Let me tell you about the toughest guy on earth. He has the crazy strength to lift the man that raised him up without even flinching. This guy, this warrior, will always be by his father's side, even if his dad will hardly remember. If this guy isn't the toughest guy on the planet, then I don't know who is. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies.
Selfie nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look.
Back to Sports Talk Network. I'm Al. And now let's send it over to our own Logan Carney, who's here for a chat with the RMU women's hockey team equipment manager. Logan?
Thanks, Adam. And I am here with the RMU women's hockey team equipment manager, Skylar Smith. Skylar, thank you for joining us on Sports Talk Network. First ever interview in the history of this show. You feel honored?
Yeah, very honored. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. Now, why don't you walk us through what you do as equipment manager for the women's hockey team?
So I cover all the day-to-day, let's just say ins and outs. I sharpen skates, do laundry, maintain all equipment needs, anything that's broken, needs sewed, repaired in any way. I usually cover all of that.
So, I mean, as equipment manager, you probably have some crazy and funny things that happen. What is the craziest or funniest thing that has happened to you when working for the women's hockey team?
There's some interesting things that happen on a day-to-day. Just at practice, it's usually funny to see everyone just messing around on the ice. It's usually a fun time to see. Just yesterday, I fell off the bench. Puck was coming to hit me, and I tripped off the bench. So
You tripped off the bench. Well, you just you tripped, or you coming to hit you? What happened? Did you dive out of the way of the puck?
So yeah, the puck was coming at me, and I just decided, got to get out of the way. So I
did a little Matrix move.
Yeah, exactly. But then there's a little step there, so I fell right off the bench.
Now, what good pranks? Now, I've heard you pull pranks on the team and everything like that. What are some good pranks that you've pulled?
So I try to get my boss, Liam. He likes to mess around with me. So the last year, I decided that I was going to take his hockey stick. I pulled the end out of it, the butt end out of it, and I filled it with water, and then I left it in my car. to freeze overnight. So when he picked it up, it was just filled with ice.
It was literally an ice hockey stick.
Yes, it was. Yes.
Who's the funniest player? Now, we've heard about you being this real funny guy, but who's the funniest player on the team?
I gotta say, Sarah LeCavalier, number 15. We call her Crash. She definitely likes to pull pranks on me. I have a desk in the corner of the equipment room, and she likes to sneak into the equipment room and like scare cam me. So,
why do you guys call her Crash?
That was just her nickname coming in. She was a transfer from UND when they cut their women's program after last year, or after 2 years ago. I apologize. And that was just her nickname, and it kind of stuck on the way here. So
what's it like working for a team that has been as competitive as the women's hockey team has been recently?
It can be stressful. There's a lot of pressure on everyone, not just myself, not just the players. There's a strong work ethic from everyone instilled by coach. But it's a lot of fun. We enjoy the pressure, and we try to work hard every day.
So they have a brutal schedule, and you talk about the pressure. They've had an absolute brutal schedule this year. What do you make of it, from kind of in the inside and the outside perspective, and how does you think this prepares them for conference games?
I don't necessarily think I would call it brutal. It is very tough, but it was designed that way. To be the best, you got to beat the best, right? And we think that playing teams like Clarkson, like Cornell, who we have coming up 2 weekends from now over Thanksgiving, playing top 10 teams like that's really going to prepare us for the teams that we see in our conference, who, other than Mercyhurst, aren't necessarily as strong as a Clarkson. So we really think that that's going to prepare us in conference and hopefully in the NCAA tournament.
So I heard, before you worked here, you worked for the pizza shop. Now, me and my co-host, Greg Sutton, have a little bit of debate here. So what is your opinion on pineapple pizza?
I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but yes, pineapple pizza is a go.
Oh, you're really hurting my case here. Why do you like pineapple pizza? Is it just the sweetness?
Yeah, I think it brings a different flavor palette to the pizza, and everybody usually goes for the pepperoni, but I think the pineapple brings on a different taste. So.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. It's been great. Unfortunately, you hurt my case, but we're going to send it over to Greg Sutton with Kestra Harris, who's back on the main set over there. Greg, how's it going?
Not bad, Logan. Thank you, Skylar and Logan. But now I get to sit down with Kestra. Kestra, thanks for coming on tonight. We really appreciate it.
No worries.
But they always say the first is the worst, the second is the best. This is the second ever interview on Sports Talking to Burgh. So in high school, what sports did you play?
So in high school, I strictly did rowing as well. Before high school, I did a variety of different sports. You gotta play them all before you pick one. But rowing wasn't even an option before high school, so I just came into it pretty late. But I'm in it now.
So from what I understand, though, a lot of people that start rowing here at Robert Morris literally start rowing when they come here. So what's that like to know that you have a little bit of experience coming in versus some of the people that come in without any experience?
Yeah, for sure. So for me, this is my 7th year doing it, so I feel pretty old now, but it's actually pretty easy to walk onto the rowing team and not be pretty far set back. Most of the USA women's national team, they started in college, and I think that plays a part of knowing more what to do with your body as opposed to what you would in high school. So people have more body awareness, so it's easier for them to get into it and be better at it right away.
Okay, I understand that. So one of the things that happened lately, this past September, you guys actually had a little incident with your dock. What all happened there?
So in September, actually a variety of things happened with our dock on the daily, but the river flooded a lot in September to the point where our normal, the level of the dock was above the level that it's supposed to be. So everything was really, really just soggy, It was just really soggy. There was a lot of water on our docks, so we couldn't actually get it. Well, we don't get out if it rains the day before, but yeah, it was above the level, so we had to tie down the docks that were going into the flow and we're gonna go down the stream, but we saved them. They're good. But we are trying to get a new dock, but we're just waiting on a permit now so that we can have like a dock that won't give us any issues.
One that won't float away.
Exactly, yeah.
So you guys recently just had a lot of success in a tournament, you guys, right? You want to run us through that real quick?
Yeah, for sure. So this past weekend we were at Virginia, Fairfax, and we had a scrimmage against George Mason and Loyola. And basically what happened is we like line the boats up and we do 1,000-meter pieces. It really depends on like the scrimmage and like how the conditions are for what we do for those. But this one specifically, like our top 2 varsity boats, they both came first, which is a big plus for us. I think it's been a while since we've had like that success, which is really exciting for us to like be back at the top again. And our other boats did really well too, either second or third in their hearts too.
And so, like Skylar, you also worked in a pizza shop.
Yeah.
So what's your perspective of pineapple pizza?
So I actually don't like pineapple pizza.
See, now it's 1-1. That's that's now we're at the same place we started at, Kesha.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I just feel like it's not right. You know, it's supposed to be savory, not sweet.
That's the same thing Logan said, but we really appreciate you coming in and spending your night with us here tonight. But when we come back, we'll do our final takes of the semester, and you're not going to want to miss them here on Sports Talk in the Burgh.
I was physically at school, but my mind wasn't at school. I had problems at home. So when I met Narnese, she started helping me a little bit, like, Nia, I don't know what you're doing, but your future is more important. She's my strength. It takes a village to help somebody get their diploma. It changes your whole life.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
See on page 4 that the projections need to be blood. Next Thursday?
Seriously? Thursday? Can't do that.
This is really inconvenient.
I have yoga that day.
I have no time for this.
So
I can't do Thursday, but I can do Friday.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency. Don't wait. Communicate.
What to expect when you're expecting.
Like here.
A teenager.
Today, I'm going to show you how to team-proof your home. First step, hide the car keys. Preferably somewhere they would never look. Challenges will come up. Be ready for them. Hi, honey.
I'm ready for them. Mom, you don't use mannequins in the mannequin challenge.
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Home fire drills give your family a plan of action. In a home fire, you may have less than 2 minutes to get out. So when you drill, show everyone 2 ways out of the house, pick a safe meeting spot, and get there in under 2 minutes. Then practice home fire drills at least twice a year. You can even make them fun. So everyone knows the sound and exactly what to do when they hear a smoke alarm. Go to ready.gov/fire drill and learn how to prepare your family for home fires.
Welcome back to Sports Talk in the Burgh. We got our last final takes of the semester. Very excited about them. So we're going to start with the Buffalonian, the Yinslonian. I believe that's what he said.
Little bit
Adam
best of
Malusa.
both. Okay, so for my final take tonight, I want to address the return of one Tom Wilson to the Washington Capitals in the National Hockey League. And to you, Mr. Wilson, and the entire NHL Department of Player Safety, I'd like to offer a collective, what the heck? This man has been cited as a repeat offender for multiple dangerous hits that have left several promising players out of action. To Gary Bettman, I ask you, what is this man still doing in the league? Tom Wilson's reckless disregard for the sportsmanship of pro hockey and his blatant attempts to take players out with dangerous headshots should have been way more than a 20-game suspension, and it shouldn't have been lowered to 14 under any circumstances. Bottom line, Tom Wilson, you're a disgusting cheap shot artist who does whatever he wants, no matter whatever he feels, no matter the negative consequences on other players. Get out of the NHL. We don't need you or your dirty style of play.
All right, well, in the past 2 days, Pittsburgh sports has had to say a couple of goodbyes. And so I would like to say my goodbyes for my final take today. The goodbyes are to Le'Veon Bell and Carl Hagelin. To Le'Veon, I don't appreciate what you did this season, but at the same time, I respect you for trying to get your payday. As much as I'd like to say, I hate you, I can't. I hope you succeed in your journey and the rest of your career. Now to Carl Hagelin. Carl Hagelin is off to Los Angeles to play for the Los Angeles Kings. To Mr. Hagelin, thank you for your effort that brought my city 2 Stanley Cups and many memories. Good luck on the West Coast, and I hope to see you in the Burghs again soon.
Well, guys, today is the last day for Sports Talk in the Burgh of the semester, which means that it's the end of another season. So I just want to say thank you for people who have watched us, has been us every step of the way. I can't forget, of course, to thank the entire crew, our producers, Brandon Ailman and my co-host. It's been a great run, a great another season, and hopefully we will see you next semester. Goodbye, everyone.